at
These
this.
are these are
Yeah,
short and
short
beautiful
and sweet.
and
I
hallelujah.
mine I got it was 54 cents for the Kindle and it was 84 pages. I was like, wow, I'm gonna have this read in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, this was it was 135
Yeah,
pages
which was like an
for
hour,
in the
pretty
book.
much.
So
An hour
it
read.
wasn't bad. I read it in
No,
one night.
it almost felt too fast. I wanted there to be more, but maybe we should intro.
Hello and welcome to the Real Reader Society. If you're a sci-fi fantasy loving bookworm, or you just want to listen to some review and discuss books and movies we love or have just discovered, we're so glad you've joined the Real Reader Society. Each week we post what's coming next so you can read and watch with us. This episode, we are reviewing and spoiling, which, when it's an old book like this, I feel like it's redundant to say that we're spoiling it, but we're spoiling the original, the very first Sherlock Holmes novel by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, A Study in Scarlet.
At this point, it's been so long, friends, that if we're spoiling this for you, it's
I mean,
he wrote it in 18, what,
1887,
1887. So, you know,
which,
which I guess it took
I
us
mean,
that long to read it. So,
I didn't know who did it. No, this wasn't spoiled for me before I read it. I didn't know who did it.
no, me either. Well, I feel
I
like
know there's,
go ahead.
nope, you're good.
I was gonna say the BBC version did this, but didn't do it. They did a different version,
Hmm.
same kind of setup, but it didn't give anything away even after having watched that episode. Also, it wasn't really written in a way for you to figure it out.
Mm-mm, not at all.
So, you're just reading it in Watson's
Hmm.
perspective. So you don't get to see anything Sherlock's seen. You don't get to put those clues together because they don't show you. He doesn't show you or tell you those clues. Which did you find
Hmm.
that frustrating? Because I'm used to Agatha Christie, where you can pick it up, but in this one, I was like, wow, they're not going to tell us anything.
Man, I was a little surprised, to be honest, because there was 2 years between the two, right? Like the first one was published in 1887, the next one was in 1889, the next one in 1902, then 1914. So there's space between all of these. And I know he wrote a lot of short stories as well. I'm not sure where those fall into it, if the short stories were in between the novels or if they were just after. But I feel like Sherlock Holmes is one of the most like iconic, recreated murder mystery detectives of all time.
Yeah.
And I was bored. I was really bored reading this.
Uh-oh.
Obviously, a lot of time has passed between 1887 and now. So like maybe he didn't get popular till the like somebody picked it up and like did the television remakes. It's like my mom says, like she remembers coming home on Sundays and watching like the Holmes show. I don't know. What did you think?
Uh, it was surprising. I didn't, I suppose I was expecting a little more. Well, I was expecting Agatha Christie, but I was getting Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And because I've never read Doyle before, I've only ever watched a Sherlock Holmes version that Hollywood has done. I was surprised. Number one, I was surprised that Sherlock Holmes is not portrayed in film the way he is in the book. Like he's way more excitable, lively, human, and eccentric in the books, and not so cold and dispassionate as they portray him a lot of times in film, except for Robert Downey Jr. I think he's probably the closest as far as personality goes, like being a more eccentric and like lively. So that was
Hmm.
surprising because I just assumed he was cold and calculated with a drug addiction. But that was not the case. And,
Right.
and I was like, okay, so his personality is so different. And the way that it read was like not what I expected. And then we took like a whole journey into America with Mormonism, and you're getting this whole journey. I was like, wait,
Hmm.
what is happening? I did not see any of this coming. The way that they gave you the backstory. So I was like, okay, so I could not have figured this out, like at all. Could not have figured this out
Mm-mm.
because there was like a whole backstory that you got that was explained to you after whatever.
Yeah.
So,
And really, the only thing that you got was that message. I think it was a telegram that said, like, JH is in London. So then you're like, well, JH did it. But that's about all that you get. There's no way
right.
that you're going to know who he is and why, like what his motive was. And
No, no.
that whole little Western insert there
Which that was in itself
was,
intriguing,
it
but weird
was,
because it was so
but
departed.
for where it was placed,
Right.
in my humble opinion, was way too long.
Yeah,
I
it was
like, I
crazy.
don't know, it wasn't interesting enough for like where it was placed that I was like, come on, like why am I reading this? I don't need this much backstory to find out that the guy's girl was taken by the Mormons and
I was
you were
honestly
just planning
surprised.
revenge for most of your life.
I was like, bro, you should have. Why didn't he go and kidnap her? But I guess he
Yeah.
thought she's married. But I would have been like, this isn't legal. This is a cult. This is not legal. Save me,
Yeah.
my dear sweet prince. Shoot these people. When Brigham Young or Joseph, I forget, it's either Joseph Young or Brigham, one of the Youngs, comes and is talking to the John Ferrier guy. It's like, just end it now, bro. He's alone in your house. Anyway,
Right.
I was definitely rooting for murder at that point, which is wrong. Um, but yeah, it was weird. It was all of a sudden we were so far removed. I was confused for a second, and I was like, "Oh, we're getting the backstory of the murderer." Okay, cool. I don't know. It was weird. I didn't love it.
Was I didn't love it either.
The whole book
I
I didn't.
did I did know beforehand. I don't know how I knew this. Probably my mom. I don't know. I did know that the Sherlock Holmes books were from Dr. Watson's account. Like originally, that's how it was essentially how what they laid out in this book was that
Hmm.
Sherlock never got recognition for his crimes, just the police did. So Dr. Watson started to record them and publish them so people would know
Right.
that Sherlock had what he had done. So you get it from that. So I'm wondering if that's why. Because when you watch the shows, when you watch the films, you get Sherlock's point of view as well as Watson's point of view.
Yeah.
So
Or
maybe
you're
that's
at
why
least
it's
getting to
so
visualize. Like we couldn't see the
right,
room.
or
We don't
it's
know
so
what
much more
he's measuring.
captivating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see him like
So,
actually working it out. And
right.
something that kept bothering me was the blood splotches on the ground because they don't explain the size. They'd never say that, oh, it was like in the path of the footprints, like someone was pacing and bleeding, and then we find out later, but that Sherlock noticed that, but we
Right.
don't get to know what he noticed. So you're
Because he didn't tell
because he doesn't
Watson.
tell, yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
tell Watson, and it's not a point of view switcheroo. So we don't get to know anything, and Sherlock doesn't
Hmm.
tell anything. He's just like, oh, he's smiling. He's like, he knows everybody's wrong, and you're just like, well, tell us why now, so that we can put it together. Like, let us try. Um,
I read it at the beginning of the novel that it was a lot of blood. Like it because they were like it's a weird one and the body was contorted or whatever. Like I don't know. I read it as it was a gory scene,
right, that's what I
especially with
thought
like
too,
you've got
because they're like, oh,
but
he's
then
not wounded. No,
but then they're like there's it was a nosebleed and I'm like I get that nosebleeds can gush and liquid spreads and spools out or whatever, but a nosebleed does not make for a gory, terrifying scene.
Right.
So that didn't add up for me. I felt like I was misled. Or maybe I just read it wrong.
No, I
I
in
don't
my
know.
brain, because when they first come in to see the scene, they are questioning, are you sure the guy's not injured because of the blood
Right.
present? So yeah, you're led to believe it's quite a bit of blood, obviously, if we're assuming he bled to death. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that was then it was like he was his nose was bleeding, and that's how he knew that he had a red face because he was full blooded or whatever. I was like, this we're really removed from the era. I feel that if
Yeah,
we had
that's
read it
true.
in that time, it probably would have a lot of things would have made sense. But because we're so far removed, things that probably would have made sense didn't. Also, the setup of novels and the way that they're written are so different too, because in the beginning, when he's talking about his experiment on how to find blood on the clothing, in a modern novel, that would be foreshadowing. That's going to come into play later on. And that's how it's going to help him solve the crime. But
Hmm.
we learn that and then nothing, we never revisit. That's not used to help figure anything out, you know?
Right. It's establishing his intelligence.
Right, right. So I thought that was interesting to get to see the way, even the fact that that length is considered a novel because it's so short. Like that's a short story, you
Hmm.
know? So for it to be touted as a novel, I'm like, that's like 100 pages. Like I think no, like, like read Brandon Sanderson. Like
Right. That's a
that's
novel.
a novel. But
It
anyway,
took me a long
um,
time.
but yeah, so it was disappointing, but it was also educational, and
Yeah.
I liked Sherlock Holmes in this book.
I thought his character was super interesting because yeah, he is very different than how he's portrayed. So that makes me wonder, does his character change
Mm,
over these novels? Like, does
right.
he become addicted to drugs? Is that something that you would even write about then? And some people like, or was that added in later? Like, I don't know the answer to that question. And I'm excited to read the other ones and see if he stays different or if he becomes the Sherlock Holmes that we know
Are familiar with, yeah. No,
and we're
so true.
familiar with. So I'm excited about that. I feel like what I'm hoping for is that this is just kind of the crummy pilot episode of a really good TV series. You
Yeah,
know, how
right.
sometimes the pilot just doesn't land, but you're like, I
I'll
mean, it
give it a
had
chance.
potential, so I'm going to give it a chance. And then it ends up being like your favorite TV show. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm really hoping for because obviously something was so good that this character became one of the most iconic characters
right.
of all time.
Beloved. I wonder
Yeah.
about his profession because that was a main theme that Watson was talking about. He was oblivious to so many important things, like even even the solar system, you know. And Sherlock's like, that doesn't help me. I'm gonna forget that. Like I need to forget that to make
I
room
thought
for
that
the
was
things.
weird.
I was like, I I thought that was I wonder about the time period if that was not him forgetting, but the specifics of observational science and analytics and like that
Yeah.
type of detective work where you are what did he call it? I know what's happening and now I have to go backwards analytically and figure out what happened logically. Like this is the conclusion. Normally we have a processes of events that gets us to the conclusion, but now we have the conclusion and we have to work backwards. I wonder if that was like a revolutionary thought or a new type of science that he was
Mm,
basically writing about this type of observational science. I don't know how to even
right.
what even to because they were like, "What is your job?" You know, like he's like, "What does he do?" because he talks
I
about this
sorry,
being his work. No, you're fine. You're fine.
I was looking for the page because I did like um in the BBC version, I know they call it the what is it, the Brain
Yeah,
Palace,
the Mind Palace.
but the Mind Palace.
Yeah.
But I really loved that that detail was in here. It was really early on in the novel, but he calls it a brain attic.
Yeah.
And with the solar system, how he was talking about that and how like you like basically I don't have room for that because I'm filing things away in my brain attic. Like
Right.
he said, the skillful workman is very careful indeed as to what he takes into his brain attic. But I also thought that it was kind of interesting, which to the point that it's the solar system, and yes, especially in the 1800s, how is that knowledge going to help you in your day-to-day life? Probably not that much. But if you're a detective, one would assume that the more knowledge you had, even in general, would be good because you
Hmm.
never know what kind of situation you're going to be in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what happens if his next case is that an astronomer is murdered and all of a sudden those facts about the solar system
Right.
matter?
Right. Right.
I
You
don't
need
know.
to know
I
these
just
things.
thought that, I mean,
That maybe that was a bad example. That he should have maybe had
I,
a different example.
I don't know, but maybe I guess I understand the reasoning, the point he was trying to make, but
Right.
and that might have just come from my, again, the Sherlock Holmes that I'm familiar with in the time that I'm living. That doesn't make sense with what I read. Where I'm like, he's a know-it-all who like is super prideful in how much knowledge he has and that he's able to retain all of this knowledge and that he knows so much. So to me, the original Sherlock who's like, "Nah, I don't need to know that. Who cares if
Yeah.
I know about that? I'm going to forget about it." I was like,
Yeah.
"Wow, that's really different."
And the brain addict, so in the BBC version, he goes to the Mind Palace to figure out the mystery, where in the books that we're reading, the brain his brain addict is simply how he basically organizes his knowledge. It's not even where he goes to like, because in the show, it's
Right.
everything's frozen and he's like trying to figure it out in his secret mind palace, but that's not even like he doesn't even need to go there in the book for the mind palace. Like he comes and he
Right.
sees, and because of he's so attuned to small details, kind of like Psych, our boy Sean there, the details people miss. That's where his
Right.
genius lies, is in the small details, or even knowing that Watson had been in Afghanistan, just deduction. That's the word, deduction. The science of deduction.
Right.
Because I guess it really doesn't matter to him where the what circles the earth and what the earth circles, because his deductions have nothing to do with the grand scheme of things, because it's all these little things, you know, what
Hmm.
shoes, the type of shoes, the footprints. So I guess
Right.
that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I thought the same thing though, Kate, because I was like, well, what if you're in a mystery and they're using astronomy for like clues or like
Mhm.
celestial bodies? Like you should probably know that. But knowing Sherlock, he could probably just read about it and then overnight be an expert.
Yeah. I did love the little quip where they're still getting to know each other and Watson is reading that article and he's like pretty harshly insulting the author, saying like
Yeah.
this is poppycock basically. And Sherlock's like, I wrote it.
Yeah. He wasn't even offended. He's like, well, you'd lose your money. Also, I'm the author. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the one who wrote it, bro.
I thought that was really funny. Just
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that dynamic because that reminded me of like your classic Sherlock Watson
Right.
dynamic where it's there's some jesting going on and Sherlock knows he's more intelligent, but he has this almost like I don't know if puppy dog affection for Watson is the right way to put it, but you just know that he's so endearing to him.
Right.
So
I feel
I really enjoyed reading that because I was like, oh, this reminds me of
it's
all those nice.
the beginning of a wonderful friendship. When he
It
killed the
is.
dog, I loved that because that is in one of the, maybe it's in the BBC. No, no, no. It's in
It's the Robert
Robert
Downey
Downey
Jr.
Jr. one.
ones.
Although in
Yeah.
that one he doesn't actually kill the dog, but in this one he does. I was like, well, it was a mercy. I was like, I like how he put that the landlady had asked Watson to put the dog out of its misery, and now it's so we felt better about it. We didn't have to call PETA and be like, hey.
I don't think PETA existed back then.
No, probably not.
But
Definitely not. No, I liked when he was first asking, they were talking about, sharing the rent to the flat or whatever, and Sherlock's like, "Well, let's get our worst things out of the way. Like, here's my worst things. What are your worst things?" And I'm like, that is actually a great way to start. Hey, how horrible can you
mhm,
be? Because can I put up with your horrible? Like
it's
that's a
fair.
great
Yeah.
a great start. And Watson's like, well, this is what they are now, but when I'm healthy, it's a whole different set. So hopefully that will suffice for now. I'm like, oh, poor guy.
I know. I thought too, maybe I'm misremembering this, but in modern day Sherlock Holmes's, isn't it usually portrayed as um, Dr. Watson has a hurt leg?
Yeah, like
Like
he
he's usually
limps.
limping, whereas this, it's his arm.
Maybe it's harder to portray a hurt arm on screen. It's so much easier to show a
That's
limp.
true. That's a good point. It's probably like a, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because unless you're like don't have part of your arm, it's like, how do you show that you're holding it stiff and awkward? I don't know. We're both just like, "Ugh."
Ugh.
And that's why they make him limp.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, oh my
Okay,
God.
so A Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle with just under 500,000 ratings on Goodreads got a 4.13.
Seems high.
I thought the same thing, but I feel like, I mean, Goodreads is obviously a new, not like brand new, but it's a newer-ish kind of thing. So it's probably people like rereading a classic. They've probably read all the other ones before posting that review. So I'm like, I might give it today. I mean, not a very good score, but after I read the rest of them, I might be like, well, if I went back now and reread it, knowing all of these additional stories and details, maybe I'd score it differently. But as
Yeah,
a first impression, I mean,
I feel like if this, if I didn't know anything about Sherlock Holmes and I read this, I think I would still be interested in Sherlock and Watson,
mhm,
but I don't think I would be on the edge of my seat waiting to read the next one.
right.
I'd be more of the attitude of if I read it, I read it. If I don't, I don't. I
Hmm.
didn't love it that much. So, but if I'm going from a nostalgia point of view where this was fun to kind of go to see where the roots where he came from, then maybe I might score higher. I don't know. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like a two, maybe. I'm like, I'm never gonna read that
Yeah.
again. Like I won't.
I'm not either.
I would
Yeah.
watch a movie though about the Mormon side story. I would watch a movie about that. That was interesting, but it just was weirdly placed and
Hmm.
just strange. But
Very
that was
strange.
that
Yeah.
was interesting to me because Mormonism, I don't really know that much about it, but the conundrum of going out west and then your religion being tied to how many wives you have, but then there being no women, like then they turn into murderers and kidnappers. That's pretty interesting. Anyway, I digress. I still would probably only give it like
Yeah.
a two and a half. We'll give it a two and a half.
Yeah. I was thinking a 2.5 as well, but then I thought, is that too harsh? But
Nah.
I'm there with you. Like I'm never gonna read that again. I'm never gonna go back and read that again. But I'm glad that I read it at least once.
Yeah.
And I am looking forward to the other ones. Like I said, I'm hoping it's like the shaky pilot and then the series really takes off after that.
Because
That's
we're
what I
both
really hope.
interested in seeing the evolution of Sherlock as a character to see if he
Yes.
starts resembling the Sherlock we're more accustomed to, or if he stays this
Yeah.
different guy. And then I'm wondering, why did they change him? Because he's cool. Maybe he was
It is cool.
too normal, too cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't I it also makes me kind of maybe we should watch some of the old like original Sherlock TV shows too, not
Mm.
just like the Robert Downey Jr. and the like the wasn't it like black and white? I feel like
Yeah, I mean, there's
I wonder
lots
if
of
those were different.
versions. We should try. We should try a study in
See like the
Scarlet.
very like the very first ones, like the original TV series was a I think it was a series, right? Not a movie
I
of
don't
Sherlock
know. I
Holmes.
don't know anything about it. I need to be
I'm
honest with
going
you.
based off the fact that my mom said she would come home from church every Sunday and they would watch Sherlock
Yeah.
Holmes
Then
on
that's
TV.
got to
So
be a TV series.
I'm thinking it's a series. So, yeah.
Well,
I wonder if that, anyways, that is that. And
I don't know if we can squeeze any more out of it. I mean, we probably could,
I don't know.
but we don't need
Maybe, I
to.
don't know. We hope that you'll join the society by subscribing, following us, leaving reviews and comments. And coming up next, we are going to wrap up the Mistborn original trilogy with Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. We hope that you will always send us recommendations for our TBR or characters you want us to talk about. Maybe even movie recommendations. We're game for it all. We love we love a TBR that's getting bigger. It's the goal, it's the dream. I'm I am doing such a good job wrapping this up. Please come and save me, Catherine.
No, it's hilarious. Keep going.
Well,
So until next time,
oh my gosh.
may your TBR keep getting bigger.
It's the dream.
It is. Oh man. Uh, Adios.
Okay.
Toodaloo. Toots your loo.
Oh.
Okay.